So the My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell, is being sued in the U.S. District Court for Colorado for defamation. Former Dominion Voting Systems executive Eric Coomer suing Lindell, saying that the rigged election claims were defamatory and led to the harassment of voting employees. Well, as the case moved forward, a federal judge now says Lindell's attorneys turned in a brief that had, quote, nearly 30 defective citations. They then admitted they were AI generated. This is a case that our legal analyst, Whitney Traylor, says he is shocked to see. So he's with us now to discuss. So the judge has called them out on this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the potential impacts here of what this could be, because certainly they've got to deal with it in this case first.
Yeah, they have to deal with it in this case first. And here it's scheduled for trial on June 2nd. And this was a motion in limine. So they were at a hearing. This was back in February. And they were dealing with issues that could or could not be brought up at trial. And so in some of those arguments, these lawyers submitted this AI brief with all these mistakes. And the judge just found out about it now. And so now they're trying to deal with, one, the lawyers have to submit a brief by May 5th. There's going to be another hearing saying...
Next week.
Right, saying why they shouldn't be sanctioned in this case specifically, and why this shouldn't be referred to the Bar Association to be sanctioned there as well.
But this is, I mean, this goes beyond just ethics. You're signing this, right?
Yeah.
AI is being used in a lot of ways all the time, but you're responsible for what is written
100%.
in that brief.
Yes, absolutely. And their signatures were actually on the brief. And so under Rule 11, when you sign, you are verifying the truth of it, that you know that this is accurate, what you're submitting. And so, when I practiced, and I was taught by excellent lawyers, very ethical, very thorough, the notion of even having a citation wrong was such a fear. I mean, This was like, you didn't submit something to the court that wasn't right, where you overstated what the case was. So for something like this to have 30, some of these cases weren't even real. This was like, I believe they call it AI hallucinations, where AI will create something. So this means they must not have even read. They certainly didn't read the cases because they didn't exist. So this is extreme. Really
and a high-profile case.
Yes.
Yeah, so 30 citations out of 31, out of 60, do we know? And is this the crux of their defense in this defamation suit? Were these 30 fictitious citations?
No, it's a great point. What was the actual issue being litigated? And I'm not exactly sure. 30 citations, no matter how many there were in the motion, is significant.
Yeah, one's a lot.
One would be a lot. And we're talking about cases that didn't even exist, arguments that weren't even real. So that is just, to me, on just such a far end. And again, maybe it was the way I was taught, the level of professionalism, because the lawyers that I went against and the lawyers that I was on the same side of were highly ethical, were completely anal retentive, thorough. They were very, very prepared. And so there was a high level of professionalism. And I think a lot of lawyers take that serious because they are officers of the court. And it's such an important position. You're in a fiduciary duty to the public. So anything that's going to, give ill repute to the profession is really frowned upon. And this is something that is certainly doing that.
Potentially damaging to their defendant as well. I mean, when you talk about being exposed, I would think that Mike Lindell in this case might want to talk to them also about defamation or some sort of miscarriage.
And sometimes it will be in this case, it was clearly the lawyer's fault. It wasn't anything Mike Lindell did. He's not expected to know these cases or whatever. So the court can sanction both the attorney and the client. And they do that. In this case, I would suspect it would be just the attorneys, which it could be a financial thing. But if it's against the client, they can get an adverse ruling against them. They could have a judgment against them. I mean, there's very extreme things that can happen for something like this.
There's a lot more, that case alone, but this aspect of that case is going to create things that we'll be following for a bit. We'll talk to you more about it next time. Thanks.
Yep.
Whitney Traylor, appreciate it.